Users will be able to earn a portion of the revenue paid by those that they refer to create an Ezira account when they buy memberships or use network features, not from any investment into Ezira. So to translate that a little bit more simply, a Ponzi scheme pays out the investment to later investors out of the recipients from early investors. So this is absolutely not a part of anything to do with Ezira. So that pretty much wraps up the thread for this week. And we will head back to the Discord. So up next we'll have the Ezira discussion topics, and then we'll open up to some questions. So first topic on for this week is Ezira's network effect potential. So for those of you who were not at the Melbourne Blockchain Centre, we spoke a little bit about the network effect potential of the Ezira network during the pitch. Important part of the network effect potential of Ezira is its ability to onboard people almost frictionlessly and enable people to start using it straight away. So there's going to be a very, very low barrier to entry for anyone who wants to start using cryptocurrency, whether or not they have access to a centralized exchange, because they'll be able to earn the cryptocurrency instead of having to buy it with fiat currency. So an important part of actually growing the cryptocurrency economy is enabling people to earn the currency. So we use something that's familiar, which is social media, and enable people to actually earn a cryptocurrency that they can then use to spend in the peer-to-peer marketplace. So you might buy something in the peer-to-peer marketplace from the content rewards that you earn on Ezira. And you'll be able to create user-issued assets to actually raise funds to produce better content or to create businesses. So to frame that as a network effect, it combines a large mass market audience of social media users with the potential for massive economic growth and commerce that is offered by peer-to-peer marketplaces. And then on top of that, accelerates the entire ecosystem with its own decentralized exchange so that anybody anywhere can create an asset and raise funds to monetize their project and raise capital to start their business account. So through all of these mechanisms, it puts together three important actors in the economy: users, investors, and businesses. Brings them all together and puts them onto the same blockchain, which has the very powerful referral income acting as a growth vector. So the network effect on Ezira obviously scales with the square of the number of users. However, on Ezira it doesn't just scale with the square of the number of users. It scales massively with the amount of economic activity that's happening on the Ezira blockchain. So some of the other blockchains that are used quite a lot in transactions are BitShares and Steem, because they're actually useful in commerce. They're useful for trading, and they're already doing something that's very valuable to a large number of users. Something that is just a cryptocurrency will inevitably not scale as quickly as something that offers more features and also acts as a cryptocurrency. So coins like Bitcoin, Ethereum, they're all fine and good as they are, because they're some of the earliest projects in the space to have launched. And they're very decentralized, but their potential to undergo massive exponential growth is limited by the fact that people have to buy them in order to access them, and people don't have the ability to earn them from a protocol themselves without shelling out on mining software and things like that. So obviously for those coins, proof of work is the design of them. So that's by design. They're designed to be difficult to earn. When in actual fact, to be used in commerce, a cryptocurrency needs to be easy to earn, at least in small amounts for work that is done on chain. So that's how Ezira grows its network effect that increases quadratically with the amount of transactions that are done on chain and the amount of users. So any growth protocol necessitates a growth in the amount of value that is being held on the protocol for transactions. And having said that, the value in transactions directly translates to the fees that the protocol earns in revenue from memberships, from users, from trading fees, marketplace fees, premium content fees, and all of the other types of income. So the next topic we'll go on to this week is Ezira's pitch deck. So the Ezira pitch deck was delivered to the Melbourne Blockchain Centre on Wednesday of last week. And I'll just pop it into the Discord so that everyone can see. Okay, it's a bit too big. The file's a bit too big for Discord, so what I'll do is I'll post it on Ezira.io and then link to it after the Hangout. So the files are limited to 8 megabytes. So what I could also do is turn it into a PDF and then post it, and I'll do that after the Hangout. But essentially what I'll do is I'll show everyone on the live stream at least the pitch deck. So this is the Ezira pitch deck, which was delivered to the Melbourne Blockchain Centre. So it starts off with the cover sheet and goes to a quote from Buckminster Fuller. And it says, "You never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete." Then it describes what Ezira is very quickly. So it says, "Is blockchain social media with a decentralized exchange and a peer-to-peer marketplace." Then it lists the team. And we'll move this into slideshow view to make it a bit bigger. So it lists the team. And it talks about Ezira's traction, the amount we've raised, the size of the Ezira Telegram group, and about our heads of agreement. Then it describes the opportunities of social media and the problems inherent within it. So for those of you who are on YouTube, just pause this slide to read all of the dot points. I'll move through it pretty quickly. Talks about the opportunity of exchanges, the amount of revenue that they earn, and the problems they have being centralized gatekeeping banking layers. Similar story about online commerce, the amount of market share that's available there. For that is over 2 trillion in global sales. It discusses the revenue of eBay in particular of $9 billion. And some of the problems, high fees, problems with payment processes, long settlement periods for receiving the money after you sell something. And then it brings this important point, and it describes blockchains enable businesses to be replaced by protocols. So it describes 3 different businesses that are able to be replaced in whole or in part by a decentralized protocol. And it describes Blocktivity with the BitShares chain at the highest average transaction throughput and Steam closely behind it. Talks about the pros and cons of the Steam blockchain, and all of those are economic problems, not technical problems. And the BitShares blockchain, again, lots of economic and social problems, but not many technical problems. And it describes the pros and cons of OpenBazaar. Again, great technology, but very undermarketed and very underappreciated. And a small problem in that mutually trusted third-party mediation is required, which makes it difficult for casual users. Then it describes the Ezira blockchain and talks about delegated proof of stake. The three main applications that will be on the Ezira blockchain. The prototype interface and the Ezira user experience, how users, businesses, or investors brought together. Some use cases for creators, free cryptocurrency payments in online businesses, starting permissionlessly. It delineates something that is important to distinguish, and that's the two main cryptocurrencies and why they are separated and what the properties of them are, and about the distribution of Ezira coin and the revenue model of the Ezira platform, the ways that Ezira acquires users through referrals, and the network effect. So developers will be able to access the Ezira blockchain as open source software and run their own interfaces. And when they do so, they will earn Ezira coin rewards based on the promoted posts that they display to their users, the memberships they sell, and the promoted posts that they sell. And if they refer accounts, then they will get even further revenue from that. And again, even more if they register the accounts and pay the account creation fee. Describes that businesses can start trading very quickly, and exponential growth in the usage of the protocol is compounded by on-chain revenue, so it's growth and revenue at the same time. And then it describes the important reasons why Ezira is so suited to being the mainstream cryptocurrency, using social media as an adoption vector, integrating a decentralized exchange and a peer-to-peer marketplace. So the two most important things that people do with cryptocurrency are trade it for other cryptocurrencies and other assets, and access products. So it's the main functions of money, all built into a social media platform that can grow at the speed of the social graph. Reasons as to why it's important that it is done now, and why now is the right time. And describes the distribution of Ezira crypto equity. And it ends with social media owned by you connect like never before. And finishes our URL. So that's the Ezira pitch deck. And I'll make that available on Ezira.io in PDF form after this hangout. So moving on, we will have the next discussion topic. And that is Ezira versus Ezira coin. So this has been a fairly common question about the main differences between Ezira and Ezira coin. So they're two sides of the same thing. So they both offer an allocation of voting power to allocate Ezira coin content rewards when Ezira coin is powered up, of course. So it's two ways to access voting power and a return on investment from the Ezira blockchain. So Ezira is always liquid and powers up over 4 weeks of holding it. So it takes 4 weeks to receive the entire Ezira holder reward and have access to the full power of the Ezira voting power that you've purchased. So after 4 weeks, it scales up once. It scales up by 25%. However, needs to be vested into Ezira power, and it earns interest from 5% of the issuance of Ezira coin. So the more Ezira coin is powered up into Ezira power, the less vesting interest that Ezira power earns. So it'll find a natural equilibrium where the interest rate fluctuates to the market. However, that gives full voting power and full its investment from the day that it is powered up. So Ezira is a slow release but always liquid voting power and revenue avenue, and Ezira Power is a vested but immediate return for voting power, and it starts earning its full vesting interest from the start. What that enables is a way for people to access voting power by trading it between each other without needing to actually lock it up. So it takes access more voting power. Doesn't require them to actually vest it and lock it into place. So those are the main differences. Ezira also has a fixed supply of 10 million, and Ezira coin has an unbounded supply increased by issuance of 10 million per year. However, Ezira coin gets burned by network revenue, so in the medium term it'll find an equilibrium supply where the amount being issued is equal to the amount being burned. And at that point we'll know the price of Ezira coin is stable. To the next topic, and that's the Ezira silver release specifications. So this is a continuation of the trend from last week where we discussed the Ezira Pioneer release specifications. I'm going to be going onto the Ezira white paper and going to an important part near the end. So for those of you who haven't had the opportunity to read the Ezira white paper yet, the Ezira silver release is the, or colloquially known as the Ezira mainnet release. So in the Ezira mainnet release, which will be taking place after the main ICO, this is the specification for the silver or mainnet release. It'll have the full node core software, so that means people will be able to download the software and run their own copy of the Ezira blockchain. So there'll be full node validation, and there'll be the Ezira mobile app alpha release will be in the mainnet release. The Genesis block of the mainnet with Ezira and Ezira credit allocations to all ICO supporters. There will be the alpha web interface, obviously upgraded from its current state, and the access to that will be open for all ITO contributors or all Ezira holders. Is based on different characteristics that we select for to allow new users in. So all holders of Ezira will be guaranteed access to the web interface at the start of the mainnet, and new users will have a wait list that'll basically be rate limited to make sure that too many users don't come in too quickly. There'll be the share drop to existing currency addresses. The content reward distribution will commence. There'll be the creation of business accounts with integrated crypto assets, crypto credits, and crypto equities. The decentralized exchange between all assets, and on the silver release, the DEX will not have any trading fees. They'll be introduced in the next release after that. So at the start, there won't be trading fees to facilitate some network to facilitate the order book volume to thicken up a bit before we start charging fees. Witness block reduction by the elected witnesses, and there will be Ezira coin mining, and people will be able to create profile accounts instead of just persona accounts. So profile accounts will be in the mainnet. There will be the ability to connect your account with other accounts. There'll be private posts that are visible to connections and no one else. Private messaging, board post sorting customization with all preset options. So the presets are in the Ezira technical manual, but basically they're the different ways you can customize the numbers to determine how the content is sorted. There'll be post feeds, so you can see the recent posts and highly rated posts of particular users that you might follow in your feed. All the initial boards and reserved accounts and asset names will be created and reserved by the Ezira team. There'll be posting of pretty much every type of content in separated posting transaction types. There'll be event creation, content reward, beneficiary specification. The Supernode network will be active and will be able to be joined by anyone with their Ezira node client using IPFS. There'll be full smart coin capabilities to be created with Ezira coin collateral and based off of any price feed specified by the witnesses or other specified accounts. Built-in Blockchain Explorer groups will be able to be created, which are essentially private boards. There are 3 different types of groups, and we can go those if you guys want to recap the 3 types of groups. There'll be the reward pools for witnesses, for marketing, advocacy, and development officers. And there will be the issuance of Ezira credit, which is backed by the revenue of the protocol. So that's the full silver mainnet release specification. So that doesn't include some of the other things in the white paper. Some of the more complex things come in the later editions. So those are funded by the annual coin offerings. So the order of operations is the ICO, then the testnet, which we are working on at the moment. Then we'll have the main ICO and the release of the mainnet. Then we'll have the first annual coin offering, and then we'll have the gold release. Then we'll have the platinum release and diamond releases after that. So everything will flow in this order. So that's the second major release, will be the silver release. So we will go on to the next discussion topic for this week. And that is the last one that we have this week, and that's user content filtering controls. So it's important to stipulate that Ezira will be a censorship-resistant blockchain protocol that will not have any censorship on the protocol layer. However, in order to make sure that it is a civil viewing experience, users will be able to have access to very advanced filtering controls. So some of the ways that users will be able to filter content is by only showing posts that are made by profile accounts, so that won't include persona accounts. There'll be a way to filter the posts made by anonymous users if users don't want to see anonymous posts. There'll be ways to filter the posts made by an account without with a balance lower than a specified amount. It'll filter out some spam accounts. If you filter, for example, all posts made by accounts with a balance of less than 10 to $0, should be able to chop most spam accounts from the interface. Users will be able to filter specific tags and specific boards from their feeds and things like that. So users will have a lot of abilities to filter their content according to the way they want to view it. Additionally, the sorting algorithms are also user specified. So people will be able to sort by votes, views, shares, or comments, or any mathematical combination of the 4 of them, in addition to time as the other axis. So there will be ways for people to customize these sorting algorithms used by the Ezira.io interface. People will also be able to, for content that does not fit in with the civil discussion on Ezira, some of that content will be able to be tagged by other users, and if it acquires enough tags, or reporting tags rather, then that can be, the tag gets added to the post, and it can then be filtered from interfaces that activate filtering on those tags. And users are able to customize which tags cause the post to be filtered or grayed out. So users have full control over what content they see. If these filters want to be turned off, then they can always be turned off. So that addresses some of the concerns that people had at the Melbourne Blockchain Centre about content filtering. Because if it is censorship resistant, then there will be obviously content that may not be suitable for everybody on there. So users will have the complete control to adjust their filtering preferences. Pretty much finishes out discussion topics for this week. And next we'll go into some questions. So if anyone has any questions, your project or anything that we discussed today, feel free to bring the questions up. Does anyone have any questions or things that they want to discuss this week? So if no one has any questions for this week, we'll move on with the next part of this week's Hangout, and that is the Ezira crowdfunding and auction guide. So every week, 10,000 Ezira will be distributed between the bidders to the Ezira address, and the auction closes 1 hour after each Ezira Hangout. So Ezira is then distributed to bidders a few hours after it closes. So it closes 1 hour after this Hangout. This week, the minimum price has been removed, just like last week, and we saw a massive participation of over 2,500 BitUSD that was contributed to the auction. And this week, we are seeing some major contributions from a lot of new faces. So it's always great to see some new participants in the auction. Purchase Ezira below its current market price. BitShares or BitUSD to Ezira on BitShares. That's EZIRA. You can also participate through the account's Bitcoin deposit address and the Ethereum deposit address, which are in fact pinned messages on the Ezira Telegram, and they'll also be displayed on YouTube. But in order to copy paste those into your wallet, go to the Ezira Telegram and copy them from the pinned message. So those addresses send Bitcoin or Ethereum to your BitShares address, and after you've sent it, please reply to the Telegram with your BitShares username and the transaction ID of your transaction so that we can put you into the auction sheet. So to show you what that looks like for YouTube. Here we can see some of the bids that have been made to the Ezira auction. Here we have bids from RMGC 1982, from Historia Fitness, from Dusty04, thank you Dusty04, 500 BitShares. We have UMCU with 400 BitShares and Europrinter with 300 BitShares. So you can see the current state of the Ezira weekly auction by going to the auction sheet, which I will leave a link to in the Discord in just a moment. So this is the weekly auction sheet. Contains this week's bids and the rules for the auction. So 10,000 Ezira is divided proportionately between all bidders, weighted by the amount that is contributed. So that means the price starts low, and then the more people that bid, the higher the price gets. So after adding in a few, the price is quite a degree below the market price of Ezira. So there is a great opportunity to pick up a large allocation of Ezira by making a bid to the weekly auction. So the next topic up for this week is the Ezira competition. So the Ezira Twitter competition last week asked our community what their first post to Ezira would be, and we had some great responses. So we'll go into some of those responses. And we also have some people on the next question, some very attentive people that have been looking through the Hangout slides. Very good. Okay, so we have Gurpreet, who says, my first post on Ezira would be, welcome to the new era of social network. Awesomeness has just begun. Very good, Gurpreet, with 48 retweets and 80 likes. So to high bar to beat. Then we have Ruben Alacon. Alason, I think that's pronounced. And he says, I would like to show in my first post in Ezira all the things and good news that the platform would, I think he means, bring to the world. And next up we have Sam, who says, in my first post in Ezira, I would like to show what I enjoy doing because my project, very good, will be based on that. Sam with an Ezira project. I'm sure we'd love to hear all about it. Then we have Maria Ballesteros, who says, my first post on Ezira will be a presentation of myself and at the same time an invitation for my followers to join the platform. That's a fantastic one, Maria. Then we have Jesus Antonio. My first post on Ezira will be, Ezira is already here and I am too. Let's go build a new world with Ezira Network. With a whopping 38 retweets and 184 likes. We have a new winner at this current stage, and that's Jesus Antonio. Next up we have Udemeso, who says, my first post on Ezira platform will be a little bit about myself, and then I will do a giveaway on that day to celebrate my presence and the success of Ezira. To know more about Ezira, visit Ezira Network. With 7 retweets and 11 likes. Fantastic work. Then we have Eric, who said, my first post in Ezira, from now on the new trend is built from here on Ezira. Visit the following networks to get to know the project, and all of the relevant links there. Then we have Nicholas, who said, my first post in Ezira will describe myself, what I like, my hobbies, my projects. I want that the people know a little of me in the same way I want to know a little of them. Then we have Sarov Premi, who says, I would post, finally the wait is over. Welcome to the new world. And we have Natalia Lorito, who says, my first post in Ezira would be, finally the next world begins here. That's a great one. With 27 retweets, 188 likes. That puts her very close to Jesus. I'll have to count that in a second. And we have Mariana Arivalo, who says, my first post for Ezira will be the one that talks about me, and I hope my second novel. Then I'll introduce myself and my projects. Fantastic. And I think that's all of the submissions for this week. Some fantastic submissions this week. All very good answers. So we have 27 retweets and 188 likes. What's that to 215 total engagements. 215 is the score to beat. One from Jesus. That was close. And Jesus has 222, if I recall correctly. Yep, 222. It looks like our winner this week is Jesus Antonio. So let's go and check if Jesus put his tweet into the competitions Discord. The BitShares address of our winner this week. Congratulations, Antonio Montaliva. You have won this week's Ezira competition on Twitter. Congratulations. And he is here in the Hangout. Fantastic. Congratulations, Antonio. We will go and see what Antonio's Ezira holdings are. Oh, that's unfortunate. Antonio is just the winner of 300 Ezira. So the competition stipulated that there was a 5% bonus on holding Ezira. To Antonio on his 300 Ezira. And there we have it, 300 Ezira to Antonio Montaliva. Congratulations. A whopping 222 Twitter engagements, likes plus retweets. So, moving forward, we have this week's new competition, which is sure to be a blast. It's Ezira Twitter competition number 3, so I think this format is working quite well for the community to take part. This one is a similar iteration on what we have been doing. So Ezira Twitter competition number 3 is post a tweet answering the following question. Who will your first Ezira connection be and why? In one sentence. And include the tags Ezira and @Ezira Network and include a link to the Telegram and Discord. Link your post in the competitions Discord with your BitShares address included to enter. The tweet with the most likes and retweets combined on Twitter will win 200 Ezira plus 5% of their total Ezira holdings. So that 5% of total Ezira holdings That's the part that has some potential to get very, very lucrative. And the winner, of course, will be announced in next week's Hangout. And if the winner is present in next week's Hangout, like this week's was, they will win a bonus 100 Ezira. The first valid entry will win a bonus 10 Ezira and will be linked in the Ezira Hangout thread. And fortunately for some people, we have already seen some entries on Twitter. They just need to be linked in the competition's Discord. Oh, there he is. Antonio Montaliva with... Hang on a second. That was last week's. Yeah, we have Antonio with the first valid entry. My first Ezira connection will be with Dan Vell, because he has been teaching me about Ezira in the Hispanic community, and he is a very nice person. That's very right there. Fantastic. We have our first winner, same as the last winner. It's Antonio Montaliva again, with the first valid entry, including all of the needed links, I'm sure. Yep, that's the whole lot. There we go. First winner is Jesus Antonio again. That's 10 bonus Ezira. That's easy. Same account as last time. Wins 10 bonus Ezira. Takes Antonio to 310. Congratulations, Antonio. Next up, we have the final slide of this week's Hangout, and that's general discussion. So, at this point in the Hangout, we have open questions for myself about any subject, whether it be cryptocurrency related, or about Ezira, or about anything else. And you can always email me at harrison@ezira.io for any other queries, team role applications, proposals, or business matters. And you can join the Ezira Telegram channel at www.t.me/Ezira Network. Importantly, if you'd like to propose that you become a witness on the Ezira blockchain, then you can make a Steam post featuring the specifications of your node and your desired Ezira witness name and other details. Indeed, congratulations to the winners of our competitions. Okay, so if no one has any questions, then we will finish up this week's Hangout. So thank you to everyone in the community for tuning into this week's Hangout. Thank you to all the people that replied to the Hangout thread. We had a massive response to this week's Hangout thread, over 200 comments, over 1,000 upvotes. So thank you to the Steemit community for the outpouring of support that has been over on the Steem blockchain. So in the coming few days, we will be developing the first new Steem-based blockchain for the Ezira Alpha. That'll be connecting to the Ezira Alpha, so there will be a new blockchain launched that will be able to host some new posts, and we'll have a test currency called Test Ezira. That'll be announced in the next week or so. That should be ready. So that represents the first time there is an independent Ezira blockchain, and that will be forged into the Ezira testnet over the coming few months. So remembering, of course, the Ezira auction is open for bids, so you can send your bids to Ezira on BitShares. And for those of you who are watching on YouTube, if you liked this content and if you think that more people should hear about the Ezira project, then give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the Ezira YouTube channel to keep up to date with all of the Ezira project news and to see all the future Ezira Hangouts and Ezira videos that are made. So I'd like to thank our Diamond Ezirans for their ongoing support of the project. Dow Street, Meta, BitShares, 2010. I'm sure you all know who you are. And I'm looking forward to seeing a few new Diamond Ezirans join the ranks over the coming few days as we finish up the Ezira preliminary ICO. So to reiterate, the Ezira preliminary ICO is finishing on the 1st of September. So at that time, all issuance of new Ezira assets will be terminated. So the amount of Ezira that has been distributed will be fixed at that time until the release of the main ICO. So after the 1st of September, there will be no more new Ezira issued. All Ezira that is held on the Ezira main account will be reserved back to the supply, and no new Ezira will be created. So the only way to gain access to Ezira is to buy it off the market at that point. So that'll be for a number of months as the testnet is developed, and after that we'll have the main ICO to reopen the supply to new entrants at that time when the testnet is complete. So there is a limited time only to access the Ezira preliminary ICO, and for the next 24 hours the price is discounted to 60 cents, and that'll be increasing to 75 cents after tomorrow. So as we were saying, there would be a 2-week discount at 60 cents, and that'll be increasing to 75 cents after the discount period. So thank you everybody for tuning into the Ezira Hangout. My name is Harrison McLean, and together we will build the next world. Thank you, and good night.